Hello, thugs. Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy Boxing Day, Merry Christmas, happy Festivus, etc., etc. Lots going on this what should be a normally quiet holiday week. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Nerd Avengers. With me so far is Brian Karam, best-selling author and White House correspondent and host of Reverse Shot. Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Good morning,
You-
Mary. Good to see
You seem sad and somber.
It's a festive occasion. I'm a happy camper. This is my favorite Christmas present. I got a new Christmas hat that blinks.
It works for you, I have to say. So you know who else is really in the Christmas spirit, Brian?
Donnie Darko.
The mentor would be a better yeah, I mean, I know that we have to figure out how to weed out the stuff we should not pay attention to. I understand that. We can't let everything drive us crazy. We can't pretend that every of his utterances is worth paying attention to. Probably most of them aren't. However, I think, this week a couple of things have happened besides his just, and again, it's not new, but his Christmas posts,
It's Christmas spirit.
we're going to dive into, I mean, are just, I'd like to say they're diagnostic in all sorts of ways. Plus, of course, there's the threats he's making to Panama and Greenland and
Yes.
Canada, which, again, we can dismiss them and laugh them off, but there's some serious implications here, and I think one of them is that we are not a serious nation anymore. I think our soon to be former allies think that we've lost our way, and that by handing the keys back over to Donald, we're making a very dark statement about who we are, even though we is not even half of us. Everybody, it's not everybody. Hey Wash. Everybody, it's Wash. Waj Ali, co-host of Democracy-ish right here on Marriage Up Media, and also founder and editor of the Substack newsletter, The Left Hook. Hey Wash.
You've got really good at that. I'm really impressed. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I was doing that from memory. I had to read it, but I actually memorized it.
Is it safe to say Merry Christmas now in America? Can we say it?
Yes, because the Republicans are back in charge. So he will not be sent to Guantanamo Bay for saying Merry Christmas. But I think happy holidays also does work, because we have like 17 different holidays around this time of year, and it's kind of obnoxious to assume that everybody's celebrating Christmas. Also, who gets offended by being told happy holiday? Like, I don't get offended if somebody says to me, Happy Hanukkah. Like, why? Thank you. I say Happy Hanukkah to you too. I mean,
it's a good point, Mary, because I'm a Muslim. I've said Merry Christmas to people my whole life. No one's like, or Happy Holidays. No one's ever been offended. And when non-Muslims say like Ramadan Mubarak, I don't sit there and go, "Oh, you have converted to Islam, my brother. Welcome."
Well, you got to understand that Christmas is all about the money, folks. Come on, we all can say Merry Christmas and go spend that cash.
But seriously though, and I mean, it's not a minor thing. Like, who gets offended when somebody goes out of their way? Okay, good. All right, so maybe they're wrong about what you're celebrating, but they're like wishing you a happy time, and you're like, "How dare you? How dare you? That's not the holiday I celebrate." Anyway,
it's peace on earth, goodwill to all men. Don't you understand? And if you don't believe exactly what I believe, you should die.
that's not in the Bible. Come on.
Well, to answer Lindsay's question, I really do not like if people say Merry Christmas. It doesn't bother. It never bothers me at all.
Merry Christmas to you too, because you can assume that they celebrate Christmas, right?
Yeah,
Just like if somebody says Happy Boxing Day or Happy Hanukkah, I assume that they celebrate those things. So I say it right back at them. Whatever. I mean,
whatever. Exactly.
We are so a nation of the immature and thin-skinned, being led by the immature and thin-skinned. And Brian, normally I would have started with you, but Waj is going to be providing some narration for us. And Waj, before you got here, I was pointing out that we need to figure out what to pay attention to, what not to pay attention to, what to address with seriousness, what to mock. You wrote a piece recently, I think it was yesterday, about how mockery is such an effective tool against authoritarians and totalitarians and fascists, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Donald also happens to be the most mockable person I think who's ever lived. So I mean, the gift who keeps on giving. But I did want to pay attention. He sent out 2 Christmas tweets. Because as Brian and I were discussing, he really does understand the spirit of the season. And the first one, I mean, it's long, but I want you to read the whole thing in the way only you can. And then the second one, we have some excerpts because it's very, very long. So let's put the first of Donald's. The only word I can think of to describe these is heartwarming. So let's see the first one, and Waj, if you could read it for us.
Merry Christmas to all, including Crooked Joe, Biden's only hope, deranged Jack Smith, the out-of-control lunatic who just hired outside attorneys fresh from the swamp, unprecedented, to help him with his poorly executed witch hunt against, quote, Trump and, quote, MAGA. Included also are world leaders, both good and bad, but none of which are as evil and, quote, sick as the capital thugs we have inside our country, who with their open borders, inflation, Afghanistan surrender, Green New scam, high taxes, no energy independence, woke, military, Russia/Ukraine, Israel/Iran, all electric car lunacy, and so much more are looking to destroy our once great USA. All caps, may they rot in hell. It's the first time I'm seeing this. I'm so sorry. Wait for this, how he ends it. Again, Merry Christmas. That is, Mary, that's the first time I've seen it. That is remarkable.
That is like my favorite. I'm getting it framed. I have to tell you, because there's more.
That's a new impression, by the way. I've been doing a different Donald where it's been like, hey, everybody, but I tried to go deeper. So give me 2 more months. I think I'll refine it. But I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, because it's so much more tolerable, or less intolerable, I should say, listening to you. But let's just briefly, Brian, because we have the next one to look into. But okay, there are a couple of things, Brian, I want you to talk about. Why is his name in quotes? Do we need to see his birth certificate? Does he not know who he is? And the whole, and in all seriousness, this idea that Americans are worse than our worst enemies, that seems like a recipe for disaster.
Yes, well, it's obvious he never even saw a Charlie Brown Christmas, so he doesn't even understand the true meaning of Christmas. Lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone upon them, and they were so afraid. And
Brian, if you spent Christmas with my family, you would understand why he does not understand the spirit of anything. But okay.
So, and then go to all right, if you're going to quote, I mean, here we are, Romans 12:20. If your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. So, drown people with niceness. But Donald Trump doesn't have that within his capability because, folks, Donald Trump is not a Christian, nor is he literate in anything else. I personally am a Druid, so I'm just going to wish to everyone an Albrin Arthran. So God bless you, and get real, Donald Trump. So, look. Of course, he put himself in quotes. All he knows how to do is rant. All he knows how to do is get attention. All he knows how to do is complain. This is going to be 4 years of this shit, and we're going to have to choose what it is we want to deal with on a daily basis, my friends, because I'm the greatest. I mean, he thinks he's the Muhammad Ali of the political sect. He's not. He's not even a Buster Douglas. Donald Trump is the Donald Trump. He is a frump. I could go on.
Well, and he also, I think he got himself into trouble with the actual president, Elon Musk, by going after electric cars.
Now, see, I love that because that's setting up a wonderful dichotomy going into. I wonder how long either one of them are going to last. I mean, Donald Trump is not in the best of health, so if he leaves us for whatever reason, and we end up with J.D. Vance, the titular head of what used to be the proud United States of America.
For those of you who have forgotten, J.D. Vance is actually vice president-elect of the United States.
And you may want to remember that. So if he ends up in charge, then Musk is going to be running a puppet government with Elon Vance. So
no, it's going to be Peter Thiel, but okay. Yeah, that's pretend it's J.D. Vance.
And to put a real somber look on it, yesterday, one of the things that we like to do in the family is go and volunteer and help out, right, in soup kitchens. And I thought, as I sat there yesterday,
but why?
Yeah, why? I wondered, here we are with 47 million hungry children in this country alone, with the number of billionaires that Donald Trump has nominated to be in his cabinet or to work for his administration. It would take approximately 200 million to solve our problems of homelessness and hunger in the United States. If you really do give a shit, Elon Musk, grow up and put your money where your mouth is. And that's to Thiel and everyone else. But the fact of the matter is you don't. What you want to do is divide and conquer. And what you want to do is make sure that we keep fighting over everything else while you run away with the money. And I'll end with John Lennon's quote, because you know, the idea of flicking the finger, smirking and sarcasm. It was Lennon who said, when it comes down to having to use violence, then you're playing the system's game. The establishment will irritate you, pull your beard, flick your face to make you fight. Because once they got you violent, they know how to handle you. The only thing they don't know how to handle is nonviolence and humor. So happy Sarcasm Day to everybody. Donald Trump, blow me. I'll leave it with that.
Okay. Well, that escalated. So Waj, if you have any comments about that, go for it. Otherwise, we can move on to the second installment of.
Do
you have the excerpts? Because it's quite long.
It's still, there's more.
Oh yeah. You don't have. Okay, so
is this from? Did he post this yesterday on Christmas?
Yes. So this is the second. The second of these is in 2 parts. So
oh my god.
As much as I would like to, let me just check something.
I just love your reaction, Waj.
Yeah, you know what? As much as I want to hear you read it, it's really long. So I'm just going to
paraphrase it.
I'm going to go through it really, really quickly. So he wished Merry Christmas to the wonderful soldiers of China who are lovingly and illegally operating the Panama Canal. And he's reminding us that the United States put billions of dollars in repair money, but have absolutely nothing to say about anything. He also wishes Merry Christmas to the Governor Trudeau of Canada, because Canada is apparently going to become our 51st state. And their taxes would be cut by more than 60% if they allowed that to happen. Also to the people of Greenland, which is needed by the United States. Who cares about you, Greenland? We just care about what we need. And then in the second part of this incredibly appalling rant, to the radical left lunatics, thanks, Donald, who are constantly trying to obstruct our court system and our elections. Apparently, we really suck at it because that didn't go very well for them. For us, I should say, they're against their political opponent, me. They know that their only chance of survival is getting pardons from a man who has absolutely no idea what he's doing. And then to those, I refuse to wish Merry Christmas to those lucky souls, but instead will say, go to hell. We had the greatest election in the history of our country. Bright light is now shining over the USA. Yeah, that's probably like a nuclear warhead. And in 26 days, we will make America great again. Yeah, go to hell. Merry Christmas. Thanks, Donald. I just to feel the love. Just
I love how there was page 2.
Yes, yes.
For Donald,
I guess maybe we was having trouble sleeping, but Waj, again, yeah. I mean, and this is sort of the next topic in those very loving, heartfelt tweets. He is laying out his foreign policy, which is expansionist and imperialist, and basically taking over territories that do not belong to us. And I know that a lot of people don't take that seriously, but do you think other countries might? Because why shouldn't they?
Especially when they're our ally and our neighbor and our trading partner and right up there on the north. Yeah, I think I would. And especially when, Justin Trudeau met you and you decide to call him governor, and then Greenland's like, yo, why are we catching strays for 10 years? Look, this is the thing with Donald. And this is what's so depressing. We mock, and we should mock, and we will mock. But at the same time, you look back and you're like, if you read A Christmas Carol or watch many of the adaptations, it's like Scrooge not learning his lesson. That's like how the story ends. Like this is like, Charles Dickens, after all the 3 ghosts visit him, he's like, bah, humbug. Like, I'm gonna
give me more money and you can't have any goose.
Yeah. If I had more money, I could buy off these ghosts.
That's exactly good. He goes, I was visited by 3 ghosts and I realized I must fire my employees. And that person, that's like the ending of the story. And so this is America, Mary. Like the fact that 48%, 49% of Americans voted for this man. That's 35% of Americans. It's like a reflection of.
Yeah, it's more like 35% of all Americans, not
35% of all Americans. It's a reflection of white supremacy, like the self-destructive, dangerous, violent, cruel aspects of white supremacy, where people would rather vote for a man who quotes Hitler, who's clearly becoming more and more unstable, than a competent Black Indian woman, right? So this is America. It's always been this way: 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or if you want to be a cynic, 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Or a realist,
he's not even president yet. We've already seen the destruction. We've seen President Musk. We've seen him and his billionaire friends' fingers in all the cookie jar, as Brian said, right? Have us divided. George Carlin used to joke about it. John Lennon used to talk about it, right? Have us divided around stupid culture wars. Christmas, there's no war on Christmas. Around race, trans people. Meanwhile, they're taking all our money. Elon Musk and his billionaire buddy is gonna like cut everything to pay for their tax cuts. And Donald, we've talked about this before. He gets things stuck in his mind, Mary, and it doesn't leave. Like the Greenland thing has just been stuck in his mind for like almost 9 years, and it just does not leave. Hannibal Lecter, because he doesn't understand the word asylum, has been stuck in his mind for like a year. It does not leave. And the thing with him is, once it gets stuck in his brain, especially as his brain starts rotting at the age of 79, and the fact that all he has left to do is just tweet and post because he's not doing any work because he just ran to avoid going to jail. The fact that this man is the cult leader for so many people, like I just saw a tweet where people are taking photos saying Merry Megabucks. So the same people who accused us of not saying Christmas are now literally removing Christ from Christmas. What do you do?
Holy cow. And also the $90 ornaments that what's her name is hawking on. They say USA, it's like the North Star or the Star of Bethlehem with USA in the middle. Since when is Christmas a United States? It's not a holiday of patriotism. It's a holiday for, heathens like me who just like Christmas. And it's an actual religious holiday that is allegedly celebrating the birth of their savior, for goodness sakes. So it's unbelievable how across the decades, everything they've said about us is true about them, or a lie. Nobody says you can't say Merry Christmas. Nobody's coming for your guns, unfortunately. Nobody is trying to take the Christ out of Christmas except you. It's so, and getting back to Greenland, I just show you a couple of responses. Greenland again tells Donald it's not for sale. Okay, great. I mean, this is Imagine. And then his comments prompted a sharp rebuke from Greenland's Prime Minister Mute Egede, look at me trying to pronounce Greenlandish, who said, "We are not for sale and we will not be for sale. We must not lose our long struggle for freedom. However, we must continue to be open to cooperation and trade with the whole world, especially with our neighbors." And this was apparently coincidental and it had been planned long in advance. But since Donald's comments, Denmark is now increasing its
defense
expeditions in Greenland. So, you know,
I mean, the fact that a leader of the fact that the prime minister of a country, he or she, there's so much to do. The fact that they have to go out of their way to make this announcement to the world because our self-destructive, racist, absurd country, a plurality, decided to elect this moron. This, I mean, just it's shameful. It really is painful. Like we laugh to keep from sometimes crying that America. It's like I was talking to folks about this. If you ever, since it's a season for holidays, and leave it to the Muslim and the Lebanese Christian man to talk about the true spirit of Merry Christmas. Like if you actually read the Bible,
and the atheist,
and the atheist, right? Like it's.
Oh no, I'm a druid.
Oh yeah, he's a druid. He's a Bible quoting druid.
I mean, it's just. I mean, America elected its own pharaoh. It's just.
Hey, look. I think we may have missed the point. I think the whole point is that Donald wants, Mexico and Canada to be our new state so we can eliminate the immigration problem. He wants to take back the Panama Canal so he can make some money and pay off his campaign debt. And then Greenland is pretty empty, so he can put his gulags up there, and all of us he doesn't like, he'll stoke us there. I think there's a method to his madness.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Certainly, Canada and perhaps Mexico would be blue states. But okay,
I think Brian, you gave him way too much credit, and that's a reflection of your intelligence, not his.
I'll say this much: if you ever get a chance, I know there's a million different versions of A Christmas Carol, but there's one I like. I hadn't seen for many years since I was a kid. It's called Carol for Another Christmas, and it was written by Rod Serling. And Peter Sellers plays this wonderful character in the what's he called? The Absolute Me's. He's the head of the Absolute Me's, and it's Donald Trump 60 years ago. It's about how it's all about him, and they're going to wage war to infinity because the ultimate Me's will be in charge, and ultimately there will be only one me, just I, the ultimate I. So we kill all of our enemies, then we kill each other, and I'm the only one that's left. And it was so prescient, even talking about that's 60 years ago. 60 years ago, they had it nailed. Rod Serling had it nailed. And if you get a chance, just watch it for that scene alone with Peter Sellers doing a great, I guess, Southern American inflection in his voice. So, it's always fun seeing a Brit doing a Southern American. It was absolutely hilarious. But that's what it is. At the end of the day, where is this going? Donald Trump, it's all about him. The narcissism is all about him. He won't be happy till he controls everything. He won't be happy unless he can denote what is acceptable and what isn't in our culture. And at the end of the day, Mary, he doesn't want you around. Waj, he doesn't want you around. And I'm a druid, so I'm on the chopping block, literally.
That's probably not the reason you're on the chopping block. But, I just want a couple of things before we can continue. I just want to remind everybody that the Nerd Avengers is now a podcast. So you can find us on all your podcasting platforms. So that's cool. Also, just take a second, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like and share the video. Thank you so much. Look at me go. And also, I want to go back to something about Christmas Carol. Reminding everybody that the rich miserly man whose family was poor had to be terrorized into sharing his wealth. So it's not, and we are officially an oligarch. I think it's safe to say that our allies will and probably never should trust us again. We are no longer a superpower. We are a joke to be feared, essentially.
That's actually a very good quote. We are a joke to be feared. That's exactly.
I think that's new merch.
That's really good because it's true. It's like it's a joke, but one that you have to take deadly seriously.
That's what did Harris say when she accepted the nomination for the Democratic candidacy. She said Donald Trump is an unserious man, and having him in office would have serious repercussions. You're absolutely
sadly, she
right.
said absolutely nothing else since the election. Anyway, I want to get back to I want to talk for a second about Musk, because
sorry,
masculine.
President
the Musk is masculine and fearsome.
So, I'm seeing a lot of people say that a rift between Donald and Elon Musk is inevitable because they're two massive egos, and Donald won't stand for it for much longer. I would have said 8 years ago that was absolutely true. I have thoughts about that now, but I want to know what you guys think. Watch. And first, just so we're clear that Elon Musk is not terrible at trolling. Unfortunately, this is something he actually floated. Maybe we should have basic cognitive tests for individuals. This is getting crazy.
Man,
yeah, I mean, I think we've been saying that for about 9 years now. So maybe better late than never, although of course I'm sure he's not talking about Donald. Anyway, in terms of this potential rift, Waj, what are your thoughts, and what do you think is going on there? Because it looks like Musk has not left Donald's side since the election.
Yeah, so first and foremost, Donald was elected thanks to Elon Musk's money, more than $250 million. Steve Bannon openly says that without Elon Musk's contributions, he doesn't think Donald would have won. He says Elon definitely helped tilt the election in Donald's favor with the takeover of Twitter, and which he's rebranded X and used to platform MAGA disinformation, eugenics, white nationalists. Also, Elon now wants to give $100 million to Nigel Farage, who leads the MAGA movement in essentially the UK. We've seen that Musk has government subsidies, government contracts, has been talking to Putin even before Donald was elected. And as Mary was saying, he has not left Donald's side. Like he was there with him in Thanksgiving, left his family, was in Mar-a-Lago. When there was a meeting recently with Bezos, I think last week or the week before, Bezos, Zuckerberg, Trump, guess who also was there? Elon Musk. Doge, Elon Musk. People forget, we should keep receipts that the bipartisan spending bill was almost tanked because of, wait for it, Elon Musk. So it
was Wash, because the revision cut out a lot of necessary things, like, I don't know, child cancer research.
Pediatric child cancer research for $190 million. So, knowing Donald's fickle ego, if people saying President Musk last week and this week, does it bother him? Well, look at his Sunday appearance at Turning Point Conference. Turning Point is the name of the brown shirts, the MAGA brown shirts. And in this hour-long verbal diarrhea rant speech of Donald, he takes time out to all of us and say, by the way, I'm the president. Elon is not president. I know they try to say that to get under my skin, but Elon can't be president. He wasn't born here. So the fact that he would actually say that shows you, Mary, it's under his skin. The problem this time around is the oligarchy is full out. The wizard has come behind the curtain, and Donald has been diminished. And I think he only ran just to stay out of prison. However, we've talked about this before, and Michael Cohen said this also. He says Donald used to literally look at photos, and if you were in a photo with him, I don't know, like a normal human, and just stood there, and for whatever reason the camera caught you slightly upstaging him, he would tell Michael Cohen, who's that person? Make sure that never happens again. And he said he was adamant about this, like he was like militant about this. So I think there is an eventual rift coming if we increase the mockery and make it a talking point. That being said, I think unlike last time, he's so dependent upon Musk as opposed to Bannon, he can't get rid of him. So I think we're going to be looking at a strange co-presidency this time around. That's my take, Mary.
Yeah. Brian, what are your thoughts? Because also I think we need to factor in as well. how Republicans in Congress are going to go along or not go along. I think that might be a complicating factor.
Well, I think there's a lot of plate spinning. First of all, if Donald Trump goes down quickly, like I said, it's J.D. Vance who's going to be dealing with Elon Musk, and he doesn't have. Well, he's too busy applying eyeliner and has problems with couches. So I don't know that he'll be able to handle Husky Muskie. But at the same time, if Donald lasts for 4 years, or even the first 100 days of this administration, there will be within the first 100 days a confrontation. But remember the one thing, and you probably know this better than me and better than anybody, Mary, and that is that Donald loves money and attention. So I doubt that he'll separate himself entirely from Elon Musk unless it's so outrageous to his own personal narcissistic belief and view of himself. Like Waj was saying, he can get upstage. Michael Cohen, when I spoke to him recently, said that he could see a confrontation coming between them, but he thinks that Musk would win that. And so if there is a confrontation between the two of them, if Musk wins it, we're all worse off, honestly, than if Donald Trump does, in my considered opinion, because Elon Musk isn't from the United States. He isn't an elected official. And again, Elon, if you really give a shit about the people in the United States, I don't know, you're worth $400 billion. Give $100 billion of it to education and the poor. What the hell? Just help out instead of, but that's not what he's about. So at the end of the day, I think there's always, when Donald Trump is involved, the possibility of conflict. The problem we have to determine going forward is who is in the human centipede, who's the one that's at the front, who's the one that's at the middle, because we know J.D. Vance is at the end. So is Musk leading it? Is Trump leading it?
A horrific image in my mind just now. I just want to say
horrible.
I didn't need that.
Just a quick reminder for everybody listening: J.D. Vance is Vice President-elect of the United States.
And so at the end, I just wrap it with this. At the end, the conflict is inevitable. How because of who Donald Trump is and who Elon Musk is. How will it be adjudicated going forward? What do you think is going to happen, Mary? You know him better than we do.
Well, I think, when I started, I said that this would not have happened at all 9 years ago. Because as Waj pointed out, it is getting under Donald's skin. But more importantly than that, it's also by bringing it up in the way he did, it just shows how weak he is now.
Yeah,
he's a diminished. He's always been weak, but this is a different kind of weakness. This is a defensive, almost acknowledging that he's not really in control of anything. And I think that he needs Musk's money more than Musk needs Donald's power, because by virtue of the fact that he has such extraordinary, obscene wealth, Musk has power. I mean, heads of state answer his phone calls. I mean, it is such a broken system. And so, I don't know how it plays out, but I definitely don't think it's inevitable that there's going to be a break, because Donald is not the same person he was 9 years ago. And Musk, I think I said this last week, understands, like some people, like Vladimir Putin, for example, that the last person who has Donald's ear is the person with the most influence. And Musk has engineered the situation in which he is never not the last person to have Donald's ear. Because he seems to be living permanently at Mar-a-Lago right now. So those are all things to consider. And in terms of,
Congress, what do you think there?
I think that it depends on what kind of influence Musk has, because the other thing that's so dangerous about him, that's actually more dangerous than Donald, is that he is actually ideological in a way that Donald never was. Like, if it had suited Donald's purposes to be a liberal Democrat, he'd be a liberal Democrat, right?
He was for a while.
I mean, he is a fascist by virtue of the fact that he acts like a fascist, surrounds himself with fascists, and seems to be okay with fascism. Musk actually believes this shit. Like, he actually, and Donald does have some eugenicist beliefs as well, but Musk is like actively fascist. And, it just depends on, we've said this before, and it's alarming, but it happens to be true. We're in a situation where the bulwark against encroaching, it's not even encroaching anymore, it's here, against fascism and protecting democracy are it's not just the Republicans in the Senate, but in terms of the federal government, it's Republicans in the Senate. Thankfully, though, I think we also do have blue state governors and people like Andy Bashir who are going to, I think governors are going to be our best bet. But, in terms of the federal government, we have to rely on Republican senators. Yikes. It's not a comfortable place to be. Okay, so I want to shift gears and talk about this.
That's a good point, though, you brought up. I like that. But
it happens.
But before you move on, I think what you said I think everyone should keep that in mind. It is the governors and the state legislatures. He can't control all of them. There are plenty of people who don't support him. So I think for those who keep questioning what you just said, Mary, is key to moving forward with Congress and with state governments.
Yeah, everybody really needs to be supporting the Democratic Governors Association, because they are going to be doing some essential work, especially in the context of creating sanctuary cities and protecting our undocumented workers, et cetera. So, ironically, one thing that Donald did that was good during his first administration, not that it was intentional by any stretch of the imagination, was show us just how weak our institutions are and how stupid some of the things are that we allow to have happen. Some of it thanks to the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court, like Citizens United, which meant that it was totally cool for 6 billionaires in the United States to contribute over $500 million to Donald's campaign. But also just like why aren't presidents, why aren't potential presidents required to pass background checks, for example? And now I never even knew about this before because it was never an issue. What is it with donating to inaugurations? Like, what is that? It's just so it's the same thing with elections. Like every candidate should get X amount of money. Every candidate should have access to, this many media hours or ads or what have you. Every incoming president should have this much for the inauguration. What is going on, Watch? It just seems like just cronyism and corruption and capitalism run amok, and why it's happening.
It's exactly it. We have to get money out of politics, and as long as money is in politics, thanks to Citizens United and also how the system is working, we're going to have a system in which even our elected officials, such as Democrats, who we hope can fight, or because they're the only counter to the Republicans right now, will have to bend the knee. Because once you talked to a lot of Democrats in the last 2 weeks, Mary, and since it's so naked now, since it's so transactional, thanks to Donald, it's so quid pro quo, they're openly saying, look, the system is like this. We don't want to take money from the rich or the 1%, but the reason why we can't go after them and make our messaging, which will stick, is right. It's the rest of us versus the 1%. They're taking the cookies, we're left with the crumbs, is because we depend on them for money. We need that money to run our campaigns. Like, they're openly saying it, right? They're like, we would love to not take money from them. We would love to, be more vociferous and vigorous in our assault against, a rhetorical assault, at least against them. But this is how their bread is buttered. And so until we get the money out of the system, Mary, unfortunately, we are stuck with the system. The problem with Donald is he's so corrupt, so venal, so transparent, so beholden to his own whims, his own avarice, his own appetite, so uncaring about ethics and norms, that he's openly doing this in a way that he's sold the United States, right? The Oval Office is his ATM. And by the way, smarter people realize it. They're like, this man's a joke, but like you said, he's a dangerous joke. And how do I win over the most powerful man on earth? Compliments, flattery, money. Musk understands, Thiel understands, Putin understands. So Saudis understood, right, that when he was president the first time, Saudis rented out all the Trump real estate, right? They're like, okay, let's just book out Trump Hotel, and then we'll line up his pockets and his kids' pockets, and we'll get an audience with him. And then, like you said, if you get into his ear, you spread a little word that the person who's last in his ear is the person who's most influential, and voila, he'll bend on our way. So Zuckerberg gets it. Bezos gets it. And the reason why Bezos and Zuckerberg are so naked and transparent with their obedience in advance is they realized, go there, kiss his ass, bend the knee, dine with him, give him $1 million for his inauguration, and guess what? He won't come after us. We'll be like Twitter and X. He won't promote deregulation. He won't call us enemy of the people. We'll be fine. F democracy, F Americans, our bottom line will be okay. So it will be, I hate saying this. Look, let me say it this way. I want to be very clear because I've always been very clear. I have always condemned vigilante violence. I was very consistent with Luigi Mangione and the murder of United Healthcare Brian Thompson. I was consistent with Daniel Perry, the other guy who was pardoned by Abbott for literally killing a man, being convicted and sent to prison for 25 years. He said, I'm going to pardon him. When it comes to Rittenhouse, the January 6th insurrectionist. But this fear of CEOs, Mary, like I'm telling you, they're unnerved by the fact that people are celebrating Luigi Mangione, right? You need the people to stand up and make this into a daily talking point. That has to be the talking point. 1%, 1%, 1%. The rest of us against the 1%. And then maybe it might lead to some Democrats getting spine, like AOC and others, to then say, enough, we're not going to take this money. This money has to be out. These people are the villains. These people are the Scrooges. And the rest of us have said enough. Sorry for my rant. But that's where I think we are, to be honest. I don't want to be cynical. But
no, listen, I think the problem right now is that being realistic feels cynical because there's a lot wrong right now. And this is going to be and already seems to be rule of, by, and for the billionaires. The oligarch class is taking over. And it's, I think when you have that much money, it makes you arrogant, and arrogance makes you stupid. Mm-hmm. And you think that nothing's going to blow back on you. And these guys who have more money than any of us could possibly comprehend. Like there is I don't know how many billions of lifetimes it would cost to spend the kind of money these people have. Probably millions, probably not billions. But anyway, it's a lot of money and no one person should have access to that. It's just wrong on every single level. And yet their plan is to strip our government and other countries, including Greenland, for parts so they can become more wealthy. I mean, do they seriously think that, climate change isn't coming for them, or they're just going to be happy living in little underground caves or
large underground caves? Yes.
Yeah. Well, okay, but that sounds fun. I mean, like imagine having children and grandchildren and being cool with that. Well, we can still drink our Chateau Neuf du Pape in the caverns, and who needs sun or electricity? I don't know. It's so short-sighted and self-defeating. And Rolling Stone is on this. Companies are scrambling to fund Donald's inauguration. He's keeping track. The president-elect is expected to raise more money than ever for his second inauguration, and he's keeping tabs on who's donating and who's not. And here's another slide. It's a mystery slide. So let's find out together what it says. Donors. Oh yeah, this is donors who give $1 million or more offered 6 tickets. Dinner with some guy named JD Vance. Could you imagine for $1 million getting? First of all, there's nobody on the planet I would spend $1 million to have dinner with. But JD Vance, I mean, is that the booby prize? I don't know. 6 tickets for an interfaith Sunday service. Like, what is it? It's going to be Megabucks. Candlelight dinner, which is good because that way you won't be able to see them very well. I mean, it is just such a grift. And, Brian, of course, the most alarming part of it, besides the fact that this is even a thing that can happen, is that they are doing it because they know there will be retaliation if they don't. The person running this government will punish people who don't support him. We already knew this, but now he's putting a price tag on it. And clearly none of these people cares about our democracy at all.
Well, Mary, come on. You know damn well he's going to grift what he can. He's pimping out J.D. Vance. I think that's hilarious. Who doesn't want to see Donald Trump descend like the Wizard of Oz in a balloon at his coronation? I mean, his inauguration. That's what it's all about. It's all about pomp, circumstance, and by God, he's here, so give him money. They're just, look, I get pissed off so bad at all this because the thing that hacks me, and I try to keep a sense of humor. Otherwise, drama or comedy will be here all week. Try the veal. But
I love that groan.
It's good. Very good.
But here's the thing. At the end of the day, you talked about, the people are giving him money like Jeff Bezos, and they don't want to be, tossed into the clink with all the other rest of us who are going to be bad media or, fake news. Hey, Donald Trump isn't even going to learn. Wake up, folks. He's not going to care a shit about you if you give him the money. Look at what happened to Gannett. They bowed before him before the election. And guess what? The Des Moines Register got sued by him after the election. Who owns the Des Moines Register? Gannett. You're not safe. Even
so
if
weird.
You give him money. And Jeff Bezos, you're another moron of biblical proportions. It only goes to show you that money doesn't mean you have any sense at all, and usually it means just the opposite. The ability to glom on to huge amounts. We got to change our thought process in this country where we think if you're rich, you're smart, because that's not necessarily true. In fact, it's usually just the opposite. You're just that caveman who walks out of the cave and goes, gimme, 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 gimme. And the rest of us back in the old days would take the spears and club you to death. But today, they own the spears, they own the clubs. Of course, they give us enough guns so we could kill each other and they can still go to the bank. But at the end of the day, this is bullshit, that you are not safe. There is no safety from Donald Trump. There is no safety from Steve Bannon. There is no safe space from Elon Musk. And the reason why they're building all those wonderful underground bunkers is, I don't know, in 2029, maybe they think the asteroid's going to hit us. But they'll be there. And remember, it's the absolute me's. That's all they are, the absolute me's. Every single damn last one of them. I think we ought to just put them in a cage and let Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and all the other billionaires fight it out. It'll be a pay-per-view event. Whoever wins gets, their riches, and we distribute everybody else's. I think that would sell.
Can I say something, Mary? Brian, if you've actually doing a little bit of research on this, he's not wrong. You know what Brian's talking about, the underground bunkers? They've actually, reported on this, is that billionaires have consulted an individual, and I'm going to try to find his book and put it in the chat, where they asked him, okay, how do we create bunkers and how do we make sure that the private military firm that we've hired don't turn on us? And this guy went there. I think his name was Rushkoff, was the guy who wrote about this, the sociopathy of billionaires. He literally got invited on a private jet to this island where all these billionaires asked to, use him as a consultant. He goes, you guys are all crazy. They're looking at bunkers. They're looking at space travel. What they're not doing is using their wealth to invest in people, in solutions. That's something that's very important for people to realize. Musk and Thiel and all these people, they believe that it's over for the majority of human beings.
Yes.
So they're interested through Nazi eugenics in populating the next generation of advanced humans who, believe it or not, happen to be white and Western, whatever that means. I'm not making any of this stuff up, folks.
No, this is all true.
And they're also interested in something called transhumanism, because like the Pharaoh, they're afraid of death. So they're trying to think about merging with machines and AI and seeing how they can live forever, because the one thing that terrifies them, the one thing that money cannot buy, is immortality. They're all going to die just like the rest of us. So they're thinking about inner space travel, bunkers, private military firms, living forever. What they're not doing, Mary, is saying, like Brian said, bringing things back full circle. I spent $270 million to get this vulgarian elected. Child cancer research, $190 million. Let me single-handedly fund child cancer research with $200 million, and I'll still have $43 billion left. Climate change. Let me spend $1 billion into research to see if we can come up with solutions. Let me spend $1 billion into helping the sagging economies of some of these countries, right? Let me spend $1 billion to help get women educated. And we realize when women get educated, especially in developing countries, what happens, right? The entire community gets lifted up. Nope, they're not going to do that, Mary. Underground bunkers, transhumanism, freezing their bodies, private military firms, penis-shaped rockets, space travel.
And every single one of the top billionaires that Donald Trump is nominated to put in his cabinet all have invested in bunkers.
By the way, and I'm going to keep pointing this out because it is important. Representation matters, right? President Biden, the total wealth, net worth, I should say, of President Biden's cabinet was about $118 million. The total, and it's increasing constantly, so it's hard to pin down. But as of this moment, approximately, the total net worth of Donald's cabinet is over $600 billion. I mean, that, billion. Yeah, exactly. Billion with a B.
This was the book. So you don't think I'm nutty. Douglas Rushkoff, Survival of the Richest.
Yeah.
Escape Fantasies of the Tech Billionaires came out last year. Douglas Rushkoff, Survival of the Richest, Escape Fantasies of the Tech Billionaires. And he talks about literally them inviting him and asking him ideas of how they could survive. And he said, you're all sociopaths.
Yeah, they are sociopaths. And I don't know if you need to be a sociopath in order to acquire that much wealth. And also, by the way, there's no such thing as a self-made person. Anybody who gets that wealthy does it on the back of either both Elon Musk and Donald Trump inherited vast amounts of wealth. Donald squandered most of his because he's an idiot, and Musk was able to trick people into thinking he wasn't. So, Donald is worth more now since the election than he's ever been in his life because they kept losing all of the tens and hundreds of millions of dollars that my grandfather threw at him. Musk just keeps getting richer and richer. And what we are learning, not that we needed the lesson, but apparently some people did, is that if you don't regulate capitalism, if capitalism is sort of the cornerstone of your economy, and you convince people that the most important thing is acquiring wealth, and you don't regulate the capitalism, what's going to happen? People are only going to care about acquiring more wealth, and the more wealth they have, the more they're going to do to get rid of any regulations, which is exactly what we see happening right now. So the wealth disparity is increasing and dangerous at this point. So you cannot trust people that wealthy to do the right thing. I mean, yes, there are tiny percentage of them who do, but again, I can quibble with where's our media infrastructure on the left, guys, because that's the only thing that's going to change the equation at this point. I hate to break it to you, but we're in this situation now where the only way we rein this in is to put in place a government that actually cares, that actually understands how dangerous this is for the country, for the planet, for most of the people in the country and most of the people on the planet, and bring back those 90% income tax rates. I mean, a graduated tax. It's just, otherwise this is it, honestly, because, not only are these people, as you said, Waj, not interested in helping anybody but themselves, there's a clock ticking. And it's called climate catastrophe.
That's right.
So we don't have 7 decades to figure this out anymore. We just don't. So,
and they know that, Mary, they know the science, and they realize, okay, it's going to be unsustainable. The hordes, the masses are going to be desperate. We have to protect ourselves and our own wealth. So we're going to go with our chosen family members and friends, not all family members. And then we're going to retreat to an island, to a bunker, to space. And then, when in that book, Survival of the Fittest, it's like that. The fear was, how do we ensure that the private military firm that we hired to protect our bunkers, that they don't rebel against us? Like literally, a group of billionaires brought this guy over.
But we don't want them in our bunkers.
Brian, that's exactly it. He goes, how do we have a fail-safe that we could keep them out unless because they realize, oh, things are gonna get so desperate that these people with guns that we've hired are gonna rebel against us and take over our abode. So how do we keep them out too? And I just want to show the mindset. If you had all that money and all that wealth and all that power, and God gave you so much, wouldn't you spend a little bit of time saying, you know what, let me give back, let me invest in humanity? But when you hold humanity with such contempt, because you're so far removed from the rest of us, and you think that you're better than us, and with Elon Musk, as he's openly said, that there's a specific type of person that should lead. The one, it's the Dostoevsky's talked about in Crime and Punishment, the Superman complex. These are the people who literally are Raskolnikov before he went to prison, and they think that they're the Superman, and that God, the universe, has given them the keys to the kingdom, and the rest of us haven't acknowledged it, and the rest of us should bend the knee and allow them and the talented breed that they produce. That's why Elon is having kid after kid. He wants to repopulate the earth. They believe that
that's what Jeffrey Epstein was planning for, by the way.
They believe that they are the saviors of humanity.
They say they believe in humanity, but they only believe in the humanity that shows fealty to them. And in your point, all of this started, by the way, a lot of this bunker talk started because of 2029 and Apophis, the large asteroid that they believe still has a chance it could turn around and hit us in 2036. So
it's open. Kidding.
I love that. So anyway, that was the impetus. And once we need a bunker because we want to survive if Apophis hits. And then it became, well, what the hell? The world's already gone to hell. Let's build the bunkers for us anyway, no matter what. And instead of, like Wise was saying, hey, maybe you could put some of that money to work for humanity, they've written off humanity. Yeah. Whatever it is, they have decided to write the rest of us off. They want to keep us fighting over shit that doesn't matter. While they build their bunkers, they go to the bank, and the rest of us can die, and they don't give a damn.
And listen, I think one mistake is I'm sorry, I don't remember which one of you guys said this, but that people are trained to believe that the ultra wealthy are somehow better and smarter than the rest of us. And
you said that, Mary.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
No, but it's a very astute point. I'm glad you said it. That's how we're trained in America, that somehow they're smarter than us. Just because you have money doesn't make you smarter.
Nothing. No, it's nothing actually could be further from the truth. It's like there's a bell curve. I mean, it doesn't matter how rich, how poor, what your race or your ethnicity, none of that matters. It's evenly spread out among us. So it's just it's very dangerous to buy into that. They take advantage of that. And I guess I'll just end with this. Imagine you have the kind of wealth we're talking about. Imagine you have almost $500 billion, more money than most countries, more money than any individual in human history, like practically combined. And instead of doing everything in your power to feed people, to avert catastrophic climate change, to clean our air, to bring people out of poverty, to make sure our children are fed, and that everybody has access to vaccines, and blah blah blah. Instead of that, you're like, yeah, you know what? I'd rather live in a bunker. Okay, then you're an idiot. And I think they need to be mocked as mercilessly as we are going to be mocking Donald for the next, hopefully not too many years.
100 days. I give it 100 days.
Okay. Well, I think we can continue mocking him in perpetuity just for the fun of it.
I'm up for that.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. It was great to have all of you Twitter watchers come over. And while you're here, if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would be amazing. If you do, that's how you get alerted to the episodes. So it's free, doesn't cost anything, takes 2 seconds. So that would be amazing. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say this out loud, but fuck Twitter. I miss Twitter. No, seriously. I mean, Twitter kept me sane back in 2020, and I miss it terribly. But it's still, I'm not leaving yet. And obviously we have a lot of awesome people here from Twitter, so it's serving its purpose. Also want to thank our amazing moderators, Susan, Deb, Jason, and Mark, who just do incredible work keeping this a safe place to be. Take that, trolls. Also, of course, to Mercedes, our phenomenal producer. We will be, I don't know what, today's Thursday. Right? No, is today Thursday? Jesus,
yes.
I never know what day it is during this time of year. Okay, it's Thursday. We will be back. The nerds will be back. I don't know how many of us, but Tuesday, it's New Year's Eve day at 12 noon Eastern, as always. We'll keep you posted about the rest of our schedule. But again, if you subscribe and hit that bell, you'll be automatically alerted every time new videos drop. So happy holidays, because we still have 30 days left where we can say that without reprisal. Happy holidays to everybody. We'll see you before the end of the year to talk about the highs and lows of 2024 and what we can expect in 2025. So Brian, Karam, Wajali, thanks guys so much for being here. I so appreciate you and everybody else. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday. In the meantime, please stay safe and be very, very kind. Bye, guys.
Happy holidays.